It is the red line, it is post-match pint, it is out for free. Do subscribe to the Anfield Wrap if you haven't thought about doing so. We can call the show the good, the bad, the ugly. I am not referring to me, George Trad or John Millburn. Within that, I'm talking about the first half, the good, the bad, the second half, and the ugly, the penalty kicks. We're going to be a bit silly as it wears on, because ultimately it's the community shield. So we will start off doing the serious football stuff. And it feels like a long time ago, George Trad, when we were all saying, fucking hell, Florian Wirtz is good at football.
Yeah, I mean, he's a magician, isn't he? And everything we see of him, we've seen glimpses of him in pre-season. Everything we see of him, we think, oh my God, I want more. I want more of this guy who's got the ability to control games, the ability to place the ball through gaps that are inconceivable, that we don't perceive that he can make those gaps happen, and yet he still does. He still threads it through. He puts it on. I don't even want to say he puts it on a plate. He plays a lovely 1-2 with Hugo Ekitike, and it's also the first time we've seen Ekitike with his back to goal to be able to go, okay, I'll tell you what, I'll do this, I'll make it work, I'll create a little situation. But Wirtz, his quality is there to see, and it's a shame we didn't get him on the ball more, because every
first
time
half he was on the ball all the time.
Yeah.
Second half he's on the ball a lot less.
But yeah, I mean, everyone was on the ball less in the second half, to be fair. But that ability to control the tempo, to put balls through, to pass, the way to pass is always good. It's always in the right place, and he creates an opportunity. Ekitike doubles down on it and goes, I'll knock it back to you, don't worry about it. Just put in a little bit of space, and then it puts in Ekitike a little bit of a turn, and then suddenly it's in the bottom corner. He's gorgeous. It's all gorgeous. The gorgeous fellas. We're having a gorgeous time. We might have got beat. Who's asked?
Well, we'll find out. I think a few people might be asked, but I want to come on to why, John. But I want to do Wirtz. I mean, he looks like he's worth every penny already. You know, you just expect he's going to be absolutely brilliant for Liverpool. You also think he's just going to glue it up. He already looks like he's got an understanding with so many of his teammates.
Yeah, half deliberately, I've not watched that much pre-season, and prior to Liverpool acquiring Wirtz, I knew about him, but I couldn't say I've watched loads and loads of him, and he just seems to be just incredibly sharp for a man of his age. He's 22 years old.
He's younger than Harvey Elliott, by the way.
He's 22, younger than Harvey. He just seems to be able to see the whole picture in his brain, and his touch is great, and his what he do. That first goal was just beautiful. Like, again, Ekitike is somebody who there's been a lot of talk about prior to Liverpool signing him, and I'm not going to pretend I've seen loads of either player, but Ekitike's got a beautiful first touch, brings it under control, and the interplay between those two leading up to that first goal was just absolutely incredible. I think the whole first half, I was just really excited about the prospect of these two lads playing for Liverpool, and look, we'll come on to talk about it, I'm sure. Second half was a very different proposition, but in the first half you could see we've got loads of reasons to be excited about this season and the money that we've spent, and at 22 years of age to be as sharp and as bright as he is, that's some going there.
I can't believe how involved he is. All the way through the first half, I couldn't believe, John, how many times the ball was coming back to him one more time. He'd pick up another pocket of space, the ball would find itself sort of at his feet again. I just couldn't believe. I've watched lads who are down as being number 10s, and they're more than capable of a moment of magic, but you feel like the passengers, this lad is not a passenger.
Well, there's two sides to that, isn't there? First of all, it's finding the pocket of space where you're available to receive the ball, and he seems to be immaculate at doing that. And then once he receives the ball, doing something useful with it. And as I say, he always seems to be able to almost see the game in his head, almost in 360 degrees. He knows where all of his teammates are. He knows where all the opposition is. And then his ability to lay it off to the right person at the right time is extremely advanced for a player of 22 years of age. A really impressive competitive debut, if you can call it today competitive. Really impressive competitive debut for him. And I think, regardless of the result, regardless of how we've ended up, I think we can all be really excited about the prospects of this Liverpool squad, looking at the strength, but also the strength and depth that we've got, that like we've really recruited well. That's how it feels today anyway.
It's how it feels there. Also, Ekitike obviously scores, which is always good if you're going to play number 9. But again, some lovely touches, I thought, over the course of the game.
And he showed these, I mean, we haven't seen that much of him in pre-season. He showed these glimpses of his awareness, his ability to create a little bit of space for himself, and his game intelligence as well, because what we're hoping that he's an upgrade on what we've had, and his ability to turn, his ability to put a shot away, you know, that that moment where he's got the ball with his back to goal, he plays a 1-2, he shifts it, and then he just slots it with no fuss whatsoever. That's what we want to see. We want to see more of that. And it was what an introduction to his first proper competitive game for Liverpool.
He played that little one that he lays off on the halfway line, John, is exactly the sort of thing you feel as though they were missing last season at times. Just put Liverpool completely on the front foot for a counter-attack. But I also think, if we're going to start to get stuck into them, I think it's him going off that actually changes the game more than anything else. I think as soon as Liverpool haven't got a centre forward, which could be a conversation about squad depth that we can come back to in a minute, but as soon as he's not there to occupy, to pull into space, to make things difficult, to be there to play it in and off, I think Liverpool become a lot poorer. So it's one thing to play well, it's another thing to also be missed. And if it's your debut, which it effectively is, and you're pulling that card, then I think that speaks volumes for his quality.
Yeah, if you go and put yourself in the media spaces, everyone's kind of talking about how much money Liverpool have spent, how big Liverpool have gone. They've done all of these things. They've shipped a lot of players in this window. We're now in a situation where we've just won the league, and from our front line, under incredibly tragic circumstances, we lost Diogo Jota. We've let Diaz go, and we've now let Núñez go. So we've absolutely denuded the front line of a team that's just won the Premier League. So all of the discussions around where Liverpool are right now as a proposition versus the team they were last season, I think it's all very, very premature. I worry slightly. Isak looks likely, but not absolutely nailed on. We're almost in the world where we're relying on Newcastle's ability to get his replacement in place before we get him. But I still think there's probably one more forward required to come into the Liverpool team, plus defensive options required. And so that would be one of my concerns going into a Premier League season that starts in 5 days' time. That we've got some unbelievable players, but from a depth point of view, the depth isn't there, and I would worry significantly that certainly at number 9 we're not as strong as we were at the end of last season, and that needs to be addressed. And look, I'm not sure that I'm not sat here for 1 second thinking that Michael Edwards is going, that's a good point, Millburn. Now I'm going to start looking for the number 9.
Bring him round.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Fucking hell, yeah.
Apparently there's some fella after the number 9 here.
Yeah.
No idea.
I hadn't thought of that until Millburn mentioned it. And so I'm absolutely sure Liverpool are doing everything they can to bring those people in. But until we get to that point, today was a good example, really, of how in the forward positions we need to recruit. I think I love Virgil van Dijk. He's one of my favourite humans, let alone Liverpool players. But he had a bit of a mad game today.
Yeah.
He was a little bit off it, wasn't he? His position.
He's been ill. It's one of the things I think
he's been poorly.
He's been literally poorly.
He's been poorly. He had a funny game today, but I also think at centre half we need to be covered in a universe where he's not well. Or
people are injured, yeah.
Yeah, people get injured, and again, it feels like a space where we've got to recruit, and we've got to recruit in the next couple of weeks. So today was a good run out. I'm not that arsed we haven't won the trophy, because I think history tells us that if you win the Charity Shield, it's not a precursor that you're going to go and win everything in the league, and I'd rather win everything in the competitive season. But I would say that there was enough in the first half to get you really, really excited about this Liverpool team, and enough in the second half to make you mildly concerned about our capabilities to fucking go on and win everything we want to win. I mean, we want to win the league. We absolutely want to win the league, but we also want the league, and we want to go Champions League final. We domestic cups. This is a good enough team and the potential to go and do lots and lots of stuff. And we've won lots of domestic trophies over the last 10 years. But I think the ability to go league and Champions League is what the benchmark that we should be really, really aiming for. And I think today's giving you a bit of an indication of the split personality of where we are from from a first 11 perspective, we're enough of a match for anyone. But we probably need 1 or 2 additions to be able to really be serious about being a threat on all fronts this season.
And it's a question, I agree with that, and it's a question of balance, isn't it? Because we all want signings, we all want to upgrade, we all want to do these things where, like, you want Liverpool to elevate themselves to the next level. We won the league at a canter last year. We won it by mid-April. So, like, how can we improve? How can we elevate this? And then at the same time, we've sold a lot of players, and obviously what happened with Diogo, which was devastating. So we've got to reinforce, and I'm sure we see all.
We haven't just sold them willingly. We know.
I know
they must sell them knowing that.
And it's absolutely the right thing to do, to sell them now and then upgrade rather than wait until we have the need. You know, so I get it. The logic is there. And all of the talk around Isak and all the talk around Gay and all the talk around all the players, they all seem like, if we look at the players that we had in place in those positions, these players that are coming in or mooted to come in will be significant improvements on what we had. So it's reinforcing from a position of strength, and that's what we all want. And one game doesn't mean that we haven't done that and we won't do that. And yeah,
But what's interesting though, George, is there's a lot of people who were saying, for instance, what would, and listen, Liverpool might go away as they did last season to Manchester City from time to time and play the thing where it's 4-4-2, but there's no one up front. When you say 4-4-2, it's last season it was Diaz and Salah and wide areas. This season Gakpo, Salah, and then it was Szoboszlai and Wirtz. Today Szoboszlai and Jones when we go to Man City. But there's a little bit of a thing there where, like, I think that's a bit of an indulgence. I think I'm not saying you can't play like that. I'm saying that you do every now and again. But I thought that today's second half, you saw the negatives of that.
Sure.
Because Liverpool could not find their way to play out.
couldn't find shape.
Couldn't find shape.
And this manager's done really, really well with having a Swiss Army knife of tools available to him to be able to go, okay, we'll do this, we'll change shape, we'll do things, we'll change formation, we'll push 1 up front, we'll push 2 up front, we'll play with 3, we'll play with 1 in the hole. And now we've got the best, or certainly one of the best number 10s in European football that we've got to try to learn to accommodate as well. So there's a lot of change to accommodate as well. So listen, let's see what happens. I've got every confidence in this manager. The manager's come in his first year, he's won the Premier League, and this is his MO. He's come in and he wants to enhance, he wants to build, he wants to do the right things. And I think where we are now, we're 60% through a transition between one team and another, and I'm sure by the start of the season we'll have the players in place that we need to be able to go, okay, we've got the Swiss Army knife back in place, but the blades are a bit sharper. That's what I think.
With it though, the next phase of it though, George, is that sort of second, like, there was all game, there was stuff that's, listen, Palace are a really interesting proposition. Sure. They played the back 3, they're committed to it wholeheartedly. A lot of teams aren't. They know what they're doing because he's not made a single sign of note. I know the left back comes on and contributes towards the end there, but for me, what's dead interesting was I thought that Palace's rigidity, we were able to, first half especially, absolutely take the piss out of. Second half, suddenly it began to smother us. The way they looked after the lines began to smother us. You know, I think that is a little bit of a thing for them to think about, which is, you know, you've got to be able to play through teams all the time. You've got to be able to offer them a genuine proposition. And I think second half, genuinely, no messing around. I do think they fall short. I think that by their own standards, I think they might look at themselves and feel as though we should be doing a bit better than this.
Yeah, maybe you know, the changes in structure in the team, the substitutions, the weight of expectation, you know. There's lots of upheaval at the moment. There's upheaval in the squad, and there's upheaval when it comes from one half to another. And you know, when it came to half time, we were all confident and comfortable, and then they came out the second half, and within the first 15 minutes, we looked our shape was all over the place, and it didn't really get any better.
I thought for the first 15 of the second half, George, I felt like we could score. I felt like they could score, but I felt like that we could score, and maybe we decided to roll the dice a bit. But then it just deteriorates from sort of 6. I genuinely think it just deteriorates from when Ekateki comes off.
One of the lads we were with had a bet on for 4-1. We were saying that's a good bet. That's good.
Yeah, 2-1 we were saying you could be in good nick here. Just before Ekateki goes off, we were saying you could be in good nick here.
That looked like a decent bet, that. And then all of a sudden, it didn't look like a good bet, did it?
No, because it was there was 8 minutes after I think Ekateki goes off to when they make it 2-2, and you're just watching. It almost had a half-life all the way up through those minutes where we're going suddenly from, we're very confident this could come in for you, into, I just don't know how Liverpool score a goal now. I don't know what a Liverpool goal looks like at this point. Whereas I had a really clear sense of that on 60, even if I didn't like what was happening at the other end.
Yeah, because before that, you saw Ekateko playing with his back to goal, run the channels. He knows he's a smart player. He's got a great first touch. He's always given Wirtz an option. He's always given the wingers an option to go, okay, I can play it in, give and go, and he's always given people an option to move. But after that, Salah came centre central, and it didn't really work, did it? He looked a bit lost. He had one attempt on goal where the ball was played in from the left.
I think it was just before 2-2. He had a chance, didn't he?
Yeah.
And I think had that gone in, the game would have gone.
It was down the goalie's throat, wasn't it?
Yeah. But I think when you look at Liverpool will come up against better opposition than Crystal Palace this season. And don't get me wrong, I was really impressed by Palace. I thought they were very, very well organised, very
clear
well.
what they were trying to do.
Very, very clear about what they wanted to do, and they executed their plan absolutely fantastically. So fair play to them. And as I say, we played them relatively early on as well in the league season, and we need to be ready for that. But Liverpool will face sterner tests in the first 3 games of the season than we will against Crystal Palace, and so I think we just got to be really, really sure that we know what we're doing. We've got a very clear plan about it.
One of the things that frustrates, so I'll come back onto the defence in a minute, or that little structural point that you made before, John. But it's, for me, again, back to the numbers point. Last season, the number of times Liverpool, the manager last season, the manager was able to bring 2 forwards on at times in games when Liverpool needed to get something, when Liverpool were looking for a result. Today, he ends up denuded of a forward. He's one down. By the time the football match finishes, he's got Gakpo and Salah. By the way, both Gakpo and Salah end up going all the way until the bitter end in the match as well, which might not have been ideal. He's got Rio and he's got Doak on the bench, but he doesn't want to bring either of them on because of the game state. Again, one of the brilliant things about last season was the number of times Liverpool would make a sub in attack, and it'd be a player as good as the players who were on the pitch.
But with different movement, with something sharper, with something different, a different way of thinking, and it changed things.
Diaz for a Gakpo, same position on the pitch, but absolutely completely different footballer, and a completely different thing for the defence to worry about. And those are the type of change that you want. That you've got a really tricky fella, low centre of gravity, brilliant, very, very tricky on the floor. Then all of a sudden you've got a 6'4" unit who can head it or bang it from distance, and he's going to fucking barge you off the ball. And those are the differences we need to have in the squad. And look, I am a fat dickhead from Old Swan, do you know what I mean? So these are not things the club have not thought about, do you know what I mean? So me telling them what to think about is an absolute nonsense, and I'm convinced they have thought about it, and I'm convinced they've got plans in place, and it will happen. But I think there's a thirst now amongst the league season starts on Friday, and we've got 3 games, I think it is, before we start.
Before the September international break, 3
before the
games.
international break, and you've got to put a marker down, and Millburn need 9 points because it puts. Wow. No, I want those 9 points because
I want 9 points.
Yeah, because I want Arsenal leading snookers. I want Newcastle put in their place, and I also think there's a chance that our rivals, like City, for example, could be in a situation where they're on at least 7 points at the end of that spell. So what you don't want to do is to be sitting through an international break worrying about how we're going to catch up. So I think I understand why all these things have got a time to them, and I understand why it might be more convenient for Liverpool to sign Gay after today rather than before today, and I understand why it might make sense for Liverpool to get Isak after we played Newcastle rather than before we played Newcastle. But if Liverpool Football Club are absolutely committed to retaining this title, we've got to do some recruitment. And the media will tell you Liverpool have already gone bananas with spend. But if you look where we are in terms of money's in and out, we're in the middle of the pack, really. We're not massively ahead of Everton. I mean, it's absolutely insane. We're not massively ahead of Everton, and we're certainly behind some of our rivals. And I think making sure we've got a balanced squad in all areas of the pitch.
As soon as possible.
Absolutely. And if you've got to pay a small premium for that, I would be inclined to play that premium because it's only 3 games between now and the international break and the end of the transfer window, but it's 9 points. 9 points is 10% of your target for this season. So like let's not leave anything on the pitch. Do you know what I mean, in terms of certainty?
Second half, they just don't look very good. The structure's not right. The shape's not right. They're trying to play balls that don't exist. They're catching themselves out. I don't entirely understand. I don't know if it's specific. It's worth saying things like Gakpo plays deeper because they play a back three. So we've almost tilted it that way. So Gakpo's coming a little bit deeper, trying to cover Munoz. This is where Ekitike is still on the pitch, trying to cover Munoz and go from there. Everyone's a little bit therefore out of whack. So I don't want. My point is, Palace are a really clear proposition. You've got to have a plan for. But there is times in that second half where, well, in both halves, but the second half especially, where I am a bit like, where's Virgil going? What's Virgil up to? This is not Virgil. It's not Virgil van Dijk to end up in positions that look like the positions of a midfielder and not a centre back. And I thought that Virgil's performance today was, I say again, he's been poorly. He's literally been ill. But there was bits and pieces of Virgil's performance today where I was a bit like at times, why is Virgil not? Even when he was doing some good stuff, at times I was like, why is Virgil there?
But him driving himself into that sort of left midfield role, we had problems down the left, I think, all day today, and I think Gakpo didn't really help with that. Gakpo was drifting into the middle. Salah's coming into the middle as well. But Virgil's trying to occupy that left midfield space, which obviously just left loads of space behind him. And listen, I'm not saying Virgil has problems turning around. I don't think he does. But certainly, he's playing against quick players. He's playing against big athletic players. So
Sar's great.
He's great.
Sar's a Champions League quality player.
And he'll occupy the space. And he scored today. And he'll do everything he can to occupy that space behind. He's a dead smart player. But I think there was wider problems with the shape today that made Virgil feel like he had to try and occupy the space to try and do something that he doesn't normally do.
So he's almost committing into stepping.
Yeah.
Do you think that could be in part because Gravenberch isn't there? Do you know what I mean? Like
we really missed him today.
But but Virgil's maybe just got to calm down a little bit because he was charging into other footballers' space.
But I mean, listen, we'll always miss. It's funny that at the start of last season, no one even considered Ryan Gravenberch to be the answer to our number 6 woes, and now he's so instrumental to the way we play. He's so clever, he's so available when it comes to taking a pass 5 yards, turning. I mean, the Gravenberch turn has become a thing in the last 12 months, which is absolutely wild. So when we miss him in that space where he occupies on the left side of the midfield, it's going to be glaring. So maybe Virgil's trying to look after his mate's space, trying to do what he needs to do. But it was a big miss today. Virgil is not an inexperienced player. Virgil knows what he has to do. Virgil's a captain of his country and captain for Liverpool. He wasn't 100% today. He played the position like he wasn't 100%. He'll learn from it. It's going to be absolutely fine.
Virgil will. I'm not worried about Van Dijk. I think it's just interesting today that he's ended up in those spaces a little bit because I think Liverpool are trying to sort of be a bit more compact. There is going to be a bit of a thing with the shift of the team. I think that you've seen this in the past, John. I think we act as though these things are digital. I.e., you say to a player, "Do this," and he just literally does the thing. Whereas it is at times like tweaking a knob. You know, it is. You might want Virgil to go to 7, but in trying to explain to Virgil, I want you to go to 7. Virgil might go to 9. No one meant 9. We just need to pull that back a little bit. I think one of my things from today, whilst as I say I do think post Ekitike going off, I do think Liverpool are just not very good. I at least think everyone's got the video. Everyone can learn a thing or two.
Yeah, I think you can imagine a conversation between Slot and Van Dijk pre-match where he says, "No Gravenberch today. You might need to step up once or twice."
Yeah.
And he's gone, "Yes, Gaffer," and like gone 100 miles an hour into that. And he's found himself in centre mid a few times when we're all going, "What the fuck is he doing in that space?" And there was a bit of that today. But like, I don't know, these fellas have earned our fucking trust, haven't they?
Well, they're the ones who won the league.
Yeah. I've spent most of my adult life going, I would give my left nut to win the league. I would give this to win my league. I would give my firstborn to win the league. And we've won the league twice in the last 5 years. And everyone's telling me we're favourites to win the league this year as well, which like I'm mildly uncomfortable with.
Sure.
And I'm finding loads of ways to rebel against them.
Granted, he told us we'd be 4th.
Yeah.
And then we'll just push on.
No, I want it. No. I want favouritism.
I like being favourite, but the hyperbole is the kind of we're so nailed on. It's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't like that.
And that I think that's duplicitous bollocks, to be honest with you. But we've wanted this thing for so long, and the people that have brought us to the dance are so good, and the team we've got are so good, and we've added to that team. We've also sold some players out to the team that got us there as well, and I'm just hopeful that we've got a real clear strategy to make sure we've got a balanced squad that'll see us through the hard. We've got African Cup of Nations to come up to. We've got a long season to navigate. And I just hope the priority for this team is to continue to focus on the thing.
Where are you going to sleep tonight? Because you put your mortgage on McAllister scoring his pen. Didn't you? You put his
the good news was
he really talked it up.
So we were watching this penalty shootout, and I said I would put my mortgage.
Oh, what? So he's taking in plausible.
But hang on,
okay.
But that
you never filled the slip out. Is what I'd say.
I didn't fill any. I would put my mortgage on this cunt scoring this goal, and what a fucking shit pen, by the way. No, it's actually a half decent pen, but
it's an alright pen. It's a really good save.
Yeah.
The other two pens, obviously, Salah misses the target completely, and Elliott's pen not very good.
Just two in a row, by the way. So he's getting them out the way. That's fine. We know Mo Salah's reliable when it comes down to it. He scored in the Champions League final. He scored massive penalties.
Everyone's going to lose their minds. I've not checked yet.
I'm sure they will. I'm sure.
There's always this thing in the back of everyone's mind that they want Salah not to take penalties for Liverpool.
But he's literally got an 80% record, so
and
it's absolutely sound.
Taking penalties.
Yeah.
But
and he should.
I said all that in the confidence knowing you've got a spare bedroom anyway. So
because it's gone, it's over. It goes from there. They weren't good pens. I mean. Szoboszlai is an absolute fucking belter, and I'd argue Liverpool maybe need to think about their order of a shootout. I thought the same thing after the Paris Saint-Germain game.
I agree.
You've got to think about the order. It's not just the idea of who do you fancy. It's who do you fancy in what slot. And I thought that Szoboszlai, I'd back Szoboszlai to take a penalty under almost any circumstances. I'd have Szoboszlai on the first one. In a really weird way, I know he misses, but I'd almost like Salah on a fourth one, where you're in the muck and bullets of a penalty shootout, so he doesn't try and do something flamboyant. He just fucking makes sure. Do you know what I mean? It's.
I love Harvey Elliott, but I wouldn't have had him on a pen.
I thought that was mad.
And it was a shite pen as well, by the way.
And look, I would not.
What's your order?
No, we've all taken a penalty. And I would not pretend for 1 second it's an easy thing to do. Even if you're Ian Rush or Jan Molby, it's not an easy thing to do. So let's not pretend taking penalties is an easy thing to do. But there are some players who are absolutely suited to it, and some players for whom they are staying out of their normal comfort zone.
So I've got an order if you want one. What I'd do is
said, to be fair, you said an order before it got fucking said.
Yeah, when we were sat down and I went, this is what I'd do. And I think I almost said them in the order that I mean in terms of takers. I'd have McAllister on the first one. I'd have Szoboszlai on the second one because you want to make sure you back at least one of those two to score. I'd do that every single time. I'd have Salah on the fourth one because one way or another it's always going to be a pressure penalty, and you go from there. Either it's a pressure penalty because you're banging it, it's a pressure penalty because it could be a draw.
Gerrard was on 5 at Istanbul.
I don't believe in that, by the way. I think that's all ego, and I think you have your best penalty takers on the first penalties. That's how I feel about it.
I don't. I genuinely think you have. So Dick,
if you miss the first one, it's recoverable.
But
if you miss the fourth, you're fucked.
But the likelihood is that you shouldn't miss if you've got the best penalty takers. It's all nonsense. But
Benitez always has. I think whenever there was a shootout on Benitez, when he had him, Benitez always had Kaut on pen 4 because he A, backed him, but also B, backed his mentality in the key moments. So I think you'd almost want your best technical penalty taker on the first one, which is where you get to McAllister or Szoboszlai, and you want your ballsiest on the fourth one. I know it's easy to say that right now when I'm saying I have Salah on fourth and he missed the first, but I think there's something funny about the first pen. I think you just want someone who's just going to stride up and strike it, whereas I back Salah as a competitor, as an animal. I back Salah to be about right, and then I probably have, therefore, if you're then thinking about the fifth, who do you want, who you fancy, as though, who would we all follow into the fucking jaws of doom?
Tsimikas, isn't it?
No, Tsimikas was 8. That's Van Dijk. And I'd have Gakpo as the third, which I think it might actually have been today was Gakpo the third. But I'd have Gakpo as the third today in terms of who's on the pitch because I'd back that. And that'd be my order. But I think the order, I'm more into the order conversation because we all think, I mean, by all means argue with me, but I would still put McAllister. I put your mortgage on McAllister. Do you know what I mean? I've just seen what I've seen.
You're making me homeless.
Yeah, it'd be me. But I put your mortgage.
The Alliance and Leicester are on the phone here, by the way. Fucking having murder.
John's mortgage on McAllister right now to take a pen and score a pen. Do you know what I mean? So for me, it's about how you're managing the journey through. It's not about the pure taker.
Sure. Listen, I could relocate to Crosby any time, so it's absolutely fine. But I could move.
Waterloo, John.
Waterloo. Move into Neil's spare bedroom. Anyway, so I mean, it's absolutely fine, but I think
they need to start thinking about. They've had 2 shootouts now in 6 months, and I'd just like to feel as though, and maybe I'm wrong, because we often say, well, they're all clever people, but I didn't like the order against Paris Saint-Germain. I don't like the order today.
The order today was
I'd like the order to have been thought through.
Yeah, I think in the past, I think it's been elevated as being a higher priority than it is now. I just think now we're in a situation where they go, we can trust them all to do it. And it's a bit on the day decision. And I think to your point, absolutely, strategically, there's a way to win penalty shootouts. Or where you can't guarantee anything, but you can improve your chances by being a bit more strategic about the... And I don't think we did that today.
Yeah, in 84 in Roma, Phil Neal, who was the club's penalty at the time, was on number 2. Rush was 3. Souness was 4.
Souness is unbelievable, wasn't it?
It's
one of the best penalties I've ever seen in my life. Absolutely postage stamp penalty.
Maybe Souness might have been 3. Souness and Rush were 3 and 4. I'm not quite sure of the order. But it is like what Souness does is the most go fuck yourself thing you've ever seen in your life. It's one of the greatest moments ever in Liverpool's history.
There's only been one better penalty in Liverpool's history, and that's Van Dijk putting in the other corner.
Oh, when he stood to the left, when the goalie stood to the right, and he just put it in the top left corner anyway.
The goalie moves and leaves that much space, and he goes, fuck.
And then he just looked at him. He looked at him afterwards. That was one of the best
that is one of the. That's forever the best penalty in my life, I think.
Yeah. There's a lot to be said for that sort of thing, and there wasn't enough of that today, I don't think. But I think that came from the fact that he worked on it and studied it, and maybe that's something to think about. Not so much in the first half of the season, but the second half of the season. Let's get there and let's have that be what we're about. Because if we're going to win the European Cup, we might need to
play penalties more.
We might need to win 1 penalty shootout at least. So it's got to improve. They've got to work on it and go from there. Any other business? Anything that you liked? I thought Frimpong looked bright.
Yeah, enjoyed him. I enjoyed how much he enjoyed this goal.
It was fun.
Regardless of how, let's say, unintentional it might have been. His little dance was good. I want to see more of them. I think he's got so much
headband.
Yeah,
we're going to get you one. But he's got so much to offer. He's got so much. No, I didn't mean that. Wait there. You misinterpreted.
Now look at that.
You misinterpreted what I was saying about that. So you said because you thought I was calling him a baldy cunt and I wasn't. But like what it was, I was just saying he looked good.
You said it anyway.
Yeah. So anyway, but I really enjoyed his enthusiasm. I enjoyed his enthusiasm.
You've got to call me a baldy cunt. You're now calling me baldy cunt.
I don't think he sounds. Oh no.
Please put it on your tone.
Oh no.
I wasn't calling him a baldy cunt.
No.
Neil, to be honest, Neil, I'm disappointed in you.
Outrageous.
So yeah, I enjoy Frimpong. I enjoy his speed. I enjoy how direct he is. I think he's more than a right back. I think he's definitely a right winger. I think he's got loads of options going forward. If he can chip the keeper from there, which is absolutely intentional, by the way, then it's something he's got in his locker that we didn't know. It was from the Paul Konchesky school of crossing. We've had a West Ham fan with us today who really
around as well over there now. I can't take my eyes off him.
Oh my God, I'm so thirsty. I mean, I've got this, so you can fuck off.
Right? You're not that thirsty, George. I've seen more evidence of other people's thirstiness.
But my big fucking takeaways from today is the Frimpong looks fucking dangerous.
Yeah,
he looks dangerous as fuck. Ekitike has got a touch, and Vert is a fucking Rolls Royce.
He's such a footballer.
So there are 3 new players we've signed this season that get you a little bit excited about next season. So we need the numbers, we need the space, we need all of the things I said earlier on, but the additions we've made are fucking premium additions, and I think the Premier League will be very, very worried about all 3 of those players. So I'm really excited. I can't wait for Friday. I cannot wait for Friday night.
No, I'm very get me in the ground. I've come. What am I? If you'd have said, I was very get me in the ground on 45. I was a little bit less so when we walked out there, but now I've ended up here. I'm very get me in the ground. I can't wait.
What time are we meeting on Friday?
So
3 o'clock.
So
I could be even earlier. But go on.
I think realistically, I'm a 4 o'clock guy. Basically, okay. I've got a job to do and all the rest of it, but. Could be bullied into earlier, but I think 4 o'clock makes loads and loads of sense. Get some tea.
Oh yeah, what's a tea move?
Listen. I sent a WhatsApp 3 weeks ago about what are we doing after. Didn't I?
Yeah, but I didn't have a ticket, so I didn't care. But now I've got a ticket.
So 3 weeks ago, I said season starts in a month.
What's our plan, boys?
It's a Friday night. Just letting you all know.
No one came back.
It was very, very muted. I imagine it'll pick up tomorrow.
I should hope it will.
I'll be your hype man, John. Whatever it is now, you send it again. I'll jump on.
So we've got to think about RT, and we've got to think about Liverpool Football Club. 3 points,
Top of the league.
top of the league.
Defending the league as champions.
Yeah. Oh, I cannot wait to fucking hail the champions onto that pitch. And I cannot, I just, it's fucking, when we won it last time in 2020, I had to do the Bring on the Champions with 2,500 other Reds on the cop against Wolves.
Sat 4 seats apart.
Oh, yeah, sat fucking a million seats apart. Yeah. And it was great, and I loved it. But it's not going to be this. It's going to be 60 fucking thousand absolute psychopaths. Friday night, fucking 7, 8 o'clock, whatever it is, screaming out, bring on the fucking
Neil,
champions.
can you communicate, please, for our fan base, the
It's gone off for free, this, George. Look at the bad on the camera.
number of pint minimum, please, to be in the ground?
I think it's a 4 pint minimum.
I think it's more than that.
Well, I think it's 4. I think
It's Friday night.
No, but we'll settle on 4, I think, because it is a Friday night. Therefore, some people won't finish work till 5. They've got to then get out afterwards. So I take your general point, George, but I'm going to respect, people's workplaces, and we go from there.
You're nice.
Got to be able to get there afterwards. So I'm going to say it's a 4.
Grow up, Neil.
I'm going to say it's a 4 minimum. Listen, thank you very much indeed. Milo's looked after this, sound and images all the way through. Thank you very much to John and to George, because bring on the champions.